What's up, YouTube? So Carmelo from Fingers of Fury here. So I went back and I watched my last video, and I thought I was paranoid that I would hear the compressor, the air dryer, and all that, and I'm not. So that's coming up on video. So I'm going to do more of this where I just shut off everything and then explain what I'm doing and come back after I've done it. But so today, working on the final boss, which has these pink grips. I'll get to that in a second. So this is the final boss coming out soon, and so I can never remember dimensions and weights exactly off the top of my head, but this is, I would say, smaller than the tall Nalgene, I believe. Then it's also, I think, the same weight as the baby boss. It's around half a pound, so it's super lightweight, which some people, when they're using the big boss, the big boss is, I don't want to call out any major manufacturers of hangboards, but it's the same weight as those like 2-inch round wooden hangboards or portable hangboards, but it's smaller in size, it's more dense, so it feels heavier, or your brain seems to trick you into thinking that it's heavier. It's the same weight but smaller. This, however, I think it might be the lightest two-hand hangboard, but it's definitely unique in the size and weight category for it. And then the inserts, being plastic, don't add much to it. So this is intended to be the take to the crag hangboard. So it's a little bit narrower, so your shoulders might be less comfortable. Not that I notice it, but it's super packable, super lightweight, and you get a 20 millimeter depth, and then you can stack the 3 millimeter inserts, same as the big boss. So everything in the boss family, I don't want to say everything in the boss family is compatible, because this will have some stuff unique to it, but the inserts fit all of the boss family. So that's why I keep that boss name across them all. And I think that's it. I do have these pink grips. So these are a test, so don't think too much about the grips themselves. So what I'm testing here is literally just this radius. So this board, obviously, if you were to pull on this, it would not be comfortable for the hand if you were pulling on, holding it like this and pulling like you were doing a deadlift. So if you have a force board or a tin deck and you have a footboard to pull up on and you wanted to do deadlifts, heavy deadlifts, obviously this wouldn't be comfortable, but nothing else really exists to make that comfortable. So this is a test that if I were to attach this size round edge to this, how would it feel? And the answer is good. Ultimately, what I want is something that can slide on from the top and kind of snap in to these features here, but I haven't worked on that too much. These are just 3D printed prototypes, which would not be the end product material either. I'm thinking like a rim or a semi-rigid foam, soft foam, something like in the 40 durometer range, but still working on that. Something you could slip over, be lightweight, take with you to on vacation, so if you can work out when you're in the hotel or something like that. So that's in the works. These whatever I end up coming up with here will not be available by the time I release this. When I release it initially, it's just going to be the hangboard itself and the inserts that go with it. So today, what I've got to do is set up to do the production run of that, which will be just 20 of these final bosses. And what I got to do before I even start is I got to clean out the whole machine, set it up, the devices for it, and that's a total mess. So I'm going to bring you in and show you the inside of the machine. When I initially started this machine shop at my house, I was doing prototype work, so the amount of chips that I was making was very minimal. So my method was, or has been, to shovel out all the chips, put them into trash bags, because I wasn't hitting a quantity that I could recycle them in a way that somebody else would come and pick them up. So it really sucks. I got to shovel them all out into trash bags, put them in the back of the Ford Focus to get them recycled. So I'm going to show you some of that mess now. Okay, so I got you guys handheld now, and hopefully you can hear me. I'm pretty close to the microphone, but it's facing the other way. I have no idea if that helps or hurts things. And so here's the soft jaws for the the Zod, the unlevel edge that I was making right before this, and you can see the mess that is the inside of this machine. I can get some covers for the top of this here, get some accumulation here, and then a little bit here, and then a bit more here. It's not going to show up in video, but I've in the past taken a picture of, there's like a foot of chips that can build up in this. So I've got to take all of this out. I've got to blow all the chips that are stuck in the vise there. Ideally, this jaw here would come out and I would remove this whole screw and blow air through the whole thing, but I can't do this on this cheap double station vise, unfortunately. So today I'm wearing some clothes I don't care about, and I'm just going to get covered in chips. So this is the example of a bag of chips. This is all aluminum chips. This is like a 70 or 80 pound bag full of aluminum chips, and a total mistake. I think probably like 40 or 50 pounds is more reasonable to place in these bags, but I had like 12 of these bags after I ran the Baby Bosses, and I have to, not all at once, 2 or 3 at a time, load them up in my Ford Focus and get them recycled. So that's what I'm about to do now, and I'll bring you back when I'm getting in the process of setting up the machine. Okay, so I feel like it's kind of confusing for me because it's the same day. I have changed my sweater because it got so dirty cleaning out the machine, but I'm going to take you in and have you look at the shop after I was done cleaning it. Okay, so here's a quick shot of kind of what happens after I'm done cleaning the machine. I don't know how well the camera's picking up on it, but it's an absolute mess. There's chips everywhere, chips all over the floor, and that's because this machine does not have a roof or ceiling to it. So whenever you blow it out with the air gun, it goes straight up and on your head, all over your clothes, everywhere. But it's cleaned out, all the chips are gone. What I ended up doing is excuse my strap there, is what I ended up doing is 3D printing these little things, whatever they are, that slip over the hex nut holding these two plates on, and then I hot glued a piece of polycarbonate or acrylic, whatever this is, that was a replacement from the bead blast cabinet, and that's just going to keep the chips that you can see down in there that would pile up all the way up here. Hopefully this is going to prevent that from happening. And then I did the same for inside here. There's a piece of polycarbonate or acrylic in there for each one. Just quick whack and hack, cut it in the table saw and miter saw real quick and got that in there. This is the stock for the final boss, and that's ready to go. So again, this is a total mess, and the move here is just to leave this all out, get the machine up and running, and by the second part you start clean up the whole shop. So just leave it an absolute mess. And then here are now 3 bags, and there's one more half bag over there, half filled with chips. And so I'll have to take these out to the car and slowly but surely get those all recycled. So I'll bring you back at some point in the process of machining the final boss. We got all the stickers, but yeah, see you then. What's up? So it is next day, and I actually forget slightly where I left off. I think I was still on the first operation, and so I let it get away from me a little bit. I'll turn it around here. And so let's see here. We can see I've got the first 3 done. The first 2 are out of the machine. So they came out perfect. And again, I've got the machines off. I notice when I go back and watch videos with even just the machine off, or just the machine on, the compressor off and everything else off, I can still hear the machine hum. So I left everything off. And so we got op 1, op 2. I believe I might have mentioned that I've got some polycarbonate here, I've got some here, and I've got some in the jaws, hoping to keep some of my chips at bay. And then the work stop had to be this auxiliary, let's call it, work stop. Comes in at a bit of an angle. It's not perfect, and I had to modify it to fit this machine, but that's going. And so I'm going to run off 17 more of these, and that's going to be the thing. I'm going to flip back around here. Okay, So I think that's going to be it, or basically it for this video. I've got some stuff I want to cover in the future. I'm going to bring it up here. I'm going to try and make this a weekly thing if I can, and having a separate camera to do this makes it way easier. So I've got here, as far as what is coming up, this is some rigid foam. I think what I want is a semi-rigid foam. These are just tests here of 2 foams of different densities. So this is 8 pound per square foot. And this is 5 pound per square foot. So the obvious difference is they poured the same initial volume, and what it grows to is this much more for the R5. So this will be a lighter weight foam, but not, I don't want to say not quite as rigid, but less stiff overall. And this is a self-skinning foam. So this is obviously what's called an open pour. So when I would use this, if I use this, again, I don't think I'm going to use a rigid foam. I'll use a semi-rigid, but self-skinning meaning it forms its own skin. So if I were to cut this open, it would be more porous on the inside, and I would create a closed mold, pour this foam in it, and when I pulled it out, it would have a skin on it, so you wouldn't tell that it is a foam. And that's nice because it's going to have enough strength for what I want it to do, but not be too heavy. So this is, I bring that up because that's what I'm thinking for putting on the outside here, or slipping on the outside here, as a, like, let's call it a barbell or handbell grip, where this wouldn't be comfortable. So in the future, I'm just going to kind of go through and walk through some more prototype thinking processes and what I'm doing to come up with the next thing. But that's it for now, and I'll be back on the next video. Thanks.